Growing up with Pokemon was odd for me. I dabbled in red and blue and mostly yellow, and only because Pikachu followed you around, but for the most part my experience with Pokemon was through the anime as well as N64 side games such as Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Stadium, and Pokemon Stadium 2. And I also had Let's Go Pikachu. That was a time. And frankly, I didn't care about the main series games. I found those spin-off games to be more fun. I was also quite young, like 4 or 5 years old when I first was introduced to it, so maybe that's a factor. And I prefer 3D animation. But one of the reasons I never ended up staying connected to the main series of games until Let's Go and Sword and Shield had to do with the battle system and the annoyance of random encounters, but that's not the topic of this video. I was spoiled with the anime and longed for battles in the games to feel as immersive and epic as Ash Ketchum's. Lord knows, due to hardware limitations, that was not going to happen anytime soon. And Hey You Pikachu is a beautiful example of just how disastrous adding something like voice commands would have turned out to be. However, that was over 20 years ago. We are in a time where we need something new in Pokemon battles besides just making them huge or different colors. I think it's high time Game Freak gave voice commands another shot, this time in the main series of Pokemon games. Hey y'all, I'm the Geek Apprentice, finally talking about Pokemon again. It's been a while, but since I've been playing and actually finished the DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield, Isle of Armor, I've been thinking about Pokemon a lot. If you've watched the anime for Pokemon, you know there are far more factors in a battle than in the games. Not to say the game battles are totally predictable, but when you're writing for a TV show, I imagine there's just a lot more potential than a game device can handle. One thing I always dreamed of doing was more than just, I pick a move, they attack, I attack, rinse and repeat. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it for what it is, but I wish it could be far more immersive. Frankly, I do believe we are at a point where this could happen via real-life, in-time voice commands. So here's my 2 cents. Game Freak is part of Nintendo, and Nintendo is no stranger to weird gimmicks and devices, usually too early for them to be good. The Virtual Boy, Hey You Pikachu voice commands, motion controls, the Wii U. They also do an excellent job of taking what didn't work in the past, keeping that idea, and making it way better in the future. The Wii is a great example of what they did with motion controls. Many believe, including myself, that the Switch is what the Wii U was aiming for. The Virtual Boy has yet to see a successor, but what about the voice commands of Hey You Pikachu? Well, we kind of had voice commands in games such as Nintendogs, and that worked pretty well from what I remember, and that was on the DS. However, this isn't just Nintendo, but specifically Game Freak. Game Freak's reputation for taking chances has not been as awesome. Now, I love Pokemon Shield. That said, I do understand that for those who've grown up playing the main series of games, this was not up to par. To me, it's great, but I have nothing to compare it to other than my limited experience with Pokemon Yellow and Let's Go Pikachu, which I also loved, but prefer Shield 100%. From what I can gather, Sword and Shield just wasn't as big of a step up as it could have and should have been. That it looked and ran like a really good 3DS game, instead of a Switch game, which is what it is. It took some steps forward, some steps backwards, and some non-steps. So would Game Freak even venture to trying such a task as adding voice commands? I think they would, but that the question is actually, would they take the time to make it as good as it can be? Debatable. But for the sake of imagination and argument, and also for the sake of this video, let's just say they would do this and would do it to the best of the Switch's capability. What would that look like? I suppose now we have to ask, could it even be done? This question is twofold. Can it be done with the hardware and technology we have available? And can it be done in the sense of fitting into the world of Pokemon? Let's begin with the former. Am I a tech expert? Not in the slightest, hence I am basing my reasoning off of my experience with Nintendo devices. As aforementioned, I had experience with voice commands via Nintendogs on the DS back when I was like 10 years old. That's over 15 years ago, y'all. And like I said, it worked pretty well. You just had to make sure you spoke clearly and with proper diction and articulation so that the commands worked consistently. With that being over a decade ago, I really don't think it's a stretch to say that the Switch is more than capable of handling something like this. But how? Through an external mic or the Switch itself? Personally, I would opt for a headphone mic set so that we're not holding a mic, like in Hey You Pikachu, and so that we're not like the DS having to like hold up our Switch to our mouth, so like, that's just the spit and just gross. Just no, I don't want to do that. So a headphone mic set I think would be best. Naturally this thing would be costly because it's Nintendo, who likes to charge a lot of money for cardboard boxes, but if it was really good and worked really well and enhanced the game a lot, it would be worth it. And come on, you know Nintendo would capitalize on a really good working mic headphone set and create games specifically for that. But concerning the Pokemon games themselves, how would this work? Well, there's a technical side and the in-game side. First of all, I would say this would need to be something optional. This way you're not forcing players to get the mic set, not forcing them to speak if maybe they're playing at home with family around or out and about and need to be quiet, or frankly, just don't want to use it. It could be as simple as toggling between classic mode, which is battling the way we always have, which is fine, and real-time mode. You can help me come up with better names in the comment section below. Real-time mode in my mind is you getting to call out the commands in real time as you see fit. The area itself would completely change so that you are immersed in the world and it's all happening right on the spot. This would require a ton of work on the part of the animators, but we want them to do more anyway. And get rid of those stupid Game Boy cries. I mean, come on, they sound so terrible. I hate them so much. Like, guys, it's 2020. We can update the graphics but not the sounds. That's just pathetic and lazy. I fall victim to nostalgia all the time, but it does not work in this case. The Game Boy cries have got to go. This mode would be quick-paced and require a lot more in-the-moment, on-your-feet thinking and memorization of what your Pokemon can do, which, admittedly, I would be terrible at. But you could also replicate those anime battles by allowing things like saying dodge it, wake up, etc. And the success of you saying that command would depend on your friendship level with that Pokemon. I cannot fully express to you how much I personally would love that. I remember narrating and acting out scenarios like this when playing Pokemon Stadium way back when, and it would be a childhood dream come true. Surely I am not the only one. But again, make it optional, something you can turn on or off at any time. How would this even be set up for your voice though? Simple. You have a recording screen where you say those commands. Bulbasaur learned Razor Leaf? Great, an option comes up on the screen asking if you would like to record yourself saying the command, and once you do, every Pokemon you have that knows Razor Leaf will recognize you saying it. Or maybe you choose not to record it then because you can't or don't want to, but you have a separate recording screen later where you can go through and just click on commands or pieces of encouragement or anything like that and just say, I want to record this now. Once it's recorded, the hardware will always recognize when you give that command. There would be limitations though, only moves, encouragement, and commands like snap out of it or wake up. You're not going to be able to do things like telling your Pokemon, jump behind and then use Thunderbolt so it ricochets off the... In my dreams. Very much so in my dreams. No, that's like fantasy. That's just not happening. I know we would love for that to happen, but there... Only so much, guys. Stinks to think that there would be that kind of limitation, but, you know, gotta work with what you've got. But in my opinion, still having at least this much could be really awesome. Okay, realistically speaking though, perhaps this is something Game Freak should test on a minor or side Pokemon game. Perhaps if they made another set of Let's Go games for the Johto region, that might be a good testing ground. The Let's Go Pikachu and Evening games were pretty much that already for newcomers to the franchise or those coming from Pokemon Go, so that idea might be a good place to start, although they still have yet to bring back writing on the Pokemon from the Let's Go games. Thankfully, we're finally able to let one of them follow us on Isle of Armor, so maybe you'll be able to ride them in Crown Tundra. I don't know. All this said, maybe I'm being too optimistic and idealistic. This might be the kind of thing that just can't happen, but Nintendo is the kind of company where that thought process is kind of frowned upon, you know? Nintendo likes to push the limits, but Game Freak, I don't know, their track record is kind of spotty as of late. Nonetheless, I do think it's fun to explore these ideas anyway. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider joining the geekdom by subscribing and checking out my other content. Also, be sure to comment below whether this is something you would like to see happen, any ideas you have, or maybe you're someone who's like, don't even bother, they've messed up everything anyway. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Massive shout out and thank you to all of my fantastic and amazing patrons. You guys are awesome and I can never thank you guys enough. My ankle just cracked really loudly. And I can never thank y'all enough for your awesome support. They really are amazing people, y'all, and it's a really cool little community, so if you would like to get in on that, be sure to go over to patreon.com/thegeekapprentice and see if, you know, the rewards for certain tiers are something you'd be interested in. But anyway, that is all for today. Thank you for watching.